Make sure everything's going well. It usually does, but I like to double check. Okay. All right. Welcome to everybody. This is Out of the Draft podcast, season 2, episode 2. Of course, I'm here, Dylan, and
Yep, I'm here as always, Mitchell. Glad to be here.
always. Usually we have other guests, like I said. I mean, if you've seen us last year or whatnot, you would know that, but they're kind of busy right now. It definitely is the NASCAR off season, so they definitely have things to do other than talking about NASCAR. But we're
Right.
lonely; we have nothing else to talk about. So,
That's
hopefully,
not right.
no, it's not. It's actually the opposite. But
Uh,
you hear them talking? Are you serious? Anyways, we just want to talk about the Gen 6. We don't really got much to talk about, more or less, of when it comes to the 2022 season. We just want to say goodbye to the Gen 6 because it was a special moment in both of our lives, I feel like, especially
yep.
for you as a Kevin Harvick fan and for me growing up being a Jimmy fan, then, of course, Chase Elliott. Um, but seeing all the great moments that we had, we just want to talk about those and give some really cool appreciation moments for each driver or whatnot.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and talk about of course everyone's sad about the Gen 6 leaving, but they're also happy because we had
Yeah,
surprises.
it's bittersweet because, like you said, it was a big part of our lives. I feel like really just kind of for both of us. Really, that was kind of more or less the era where we really started to get deep into NASCAR. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, we like Gen 5 and Gen 4 and COT as well, but I'd say really COT we started learning more. But still, it has been a big part, and we had it for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, it's bittersweet, but we
I'm
got a good part coming to us. So
no, yeah. I mean, I feel more relieved that it's leaving, in a sense of the racing product itself.
I
But
agree.
because it definitely was a lot more aero dependent than any other car NASCAR's ever had.
Yes.
But they also, when they brought it out, that was their goal. Um, but which they realized that was not the direction that we should go in when it comes to uh, with racing with fenders on our wheels. So, um,
Right.
but I will say that I'm happy in a sense of what the Gen 6 gave us, because it's gave us, great finishes. Honestly, probably the best moments NASCAR history in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yep.
given us some of the best drivers in NASCAR in general. And it's proven that, especially when we talk about the stats later on in a little bit. Um,
Yep.
so I just want to go ahead and, if you want to just talk about like the top 10 drivers, if you're ready to talk about that.
Yeah, like that specific picture that we had.
Yeah, I don't know if I have it pulled up just yet. I don't know if you
I can
do.
pull it up. Yeah, I can pull it up real quick.
Well, I feel like I needed to, so I can feel like I know what you're talking about. There we go. All
Yeah.
right, I got it. You can go
Yeah.
ahead.
So
You can go
the
ahead.
top ten drivers of the Gen 6 era, which is ranging from 2013 to 2021. 10th, Chase Elliott. Ninth, Matt Kenseth. Eighth, Larson. Seventh, Jimmy Johnson. Sixth, Denny Hamlin. Fifth, Joey Logano. Fourth, Keselowski. Third, Truex. Two, Kyle Busch. One, Kevin, which is great for me. Um, I mean, that says a lot. There's a lot of information on this to digest
Yeah,
and to really talk about.
absolutely.
But
I want to give some notable drivers that was on this list that didn't just make it quite the top 10. Of course, you had Jeff Gordon, and Dale Jr.
yeah,
Those are the next two guys that was on there. Um, in a sense of,
Edwards done a little bit of winning
yeah,
in the Gen 6 era.
um, they were definitely, I mean, the Gen 6 I think relieved Dale Jr.'s career, because if we would have kept the COT, I don't know what would have happened with his career. But
Right.
also, I mean, since we're talking about him, congratulations on the Hall of Fame. That's great.
Yeah, right.
But and then Jeff Gordon, of course, 2014 was a breakout year for him. So that was we never thought that he could ever be close to winning a championship, and then again he was. So,
Right.
um, but anyways, that was just some notable drivers that we didn't notice, and then Carl Edwards, of course, in 2016 he was so close to winning his first championship. But we'll go. I'm sure that's one of our
And
moments.
that was a good race.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Um, but I do want to put some facts here because so they ranked these by wins. They didn't really rank it as in a sense of whatever, but Kevin Harvick beat every driver when it comes to every category. So in a sense of races, him, Martin Truex Jr., and Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, all tied with the same amount of races, but that's because they started every single race in the Gen 6 era. But Kevin Harvick has 39 wins out of that. That is a 10% win percentage out of his starts. That is crazy. Average finish is 10th, which out of 5 seasons your average finish is 10th. That's pretty remarkable. 145 top 5s, 225 top 10s, 283 top 20s, which doesn't really matter. But
no, yeah, top 20s are kind of irrelevant.
But I will say he beat everyone in these categories. He also beat on this as led laps. He led 11.5K laps. He had 26 poles. He still had the most poles out of anybody. And yeah, that's just crazy. His average start was a 9.8. The best average start out of this whole group was Joey Logano with a 9.4. So it's not like he wasn't too far off, but
right. And then there's still a bunch of 9.7s, and there's a lot that he's ahead of too.
Yeah, so. I mean there's, but the couple
least amount of DNFs as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. The closest DNF guy is actually Chase Elliott, but he also has 100 less races, so that doesn't really help his.
Can you believe Larson's though?
30.
I mean, honestly, that's really high.
Yeah, I mean, but that have really affected his average finish. Just look at that, 14.
Right.
I mean, that's really bad. Like of course he was in
right.
Chip Ganassi's equipment, but I mean most of his career he was still getting all of his chassis from Hendrick. So I don't know what they expect. But so I want to talk about Kyle Larson though for a second. A lot of people were surprised to see him 8th on this list, but I'm not, right? Because in a sense of his rookie season was 2014, so he only missed 1 year technically of the Gen 6 races.
Well, and then the last year, I guess, but
he could have controlled that one. The other one he couldn't.
Yeah. Right.
But I think 16 wins. Obviously, he would have been a lot lower if last year didn't happen at all. But he probably wouldn't even been in the top 30. But that's still crazy. I mean, 16 wins, and it's such a short span because he didn't start winning races until 2017, right? His first win was 2016. Yeah. But and then also you see, Chase Elliott, who's only been in the sport since 2016. Yeah, he had 3 to 5 races before in 2015, but they were literally just for him to test. I mean, they weren't the best equipment. Right. It was the 25 car. Like they just wanted him to drive to see if he was capable of it.
Right.
But of course, his first win didn't happen until 2018. So from that span, from 2018 to now, I mean, 13 wins. That's
not bad.
That's pretty. That's up there, right? I mean, obviously you didn't have the 10-win season that Larson did or the 9-win season that Harvick did last year, But
Right.
that also shows that all 10 of these drivers have at least won a championship besides one. Um, and that's Denny Hamlin. So
Oh, that's great.
that's just crazy to me. I mean that just shows you like these were okay in any era. I really think that these 10 drivers could have done something, I'm not even just throwing that in there,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I mean because look, Harvick and Kyle Busch definitely top two drivers of the Gen 6 era. I mean that's just insane.
Right.
They both were neck and neck every year, no matter how you sliced it.
Right.
Truex is the one that I want to come back to because whenever
Truex did a lot of winning.
I mean, the Gen 6 literally made his career. Like, there's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, Furniture Row, Toyota, I understand that whole situation. But if you think about it, he started winning races in 2013 with Michael Waltrip Racing.
Yeah.
Again, so to perform with the Gen 6, it really showed that it was a driver's race car. I will say that. Now, was it a lot of aero dependency? Yes, absolutely. But you had to drive the race car.
Yeah.
And then you can go ahead and finish off the list if you would like. Well, until we get to the Jimmy Johnson Matt Kenseth part. Then we can talk about them two together.
Oh man. The only other thing that I think is really noteworthy, I guess, for the list, besides each individual driver, is if Kyle Busch didn't break his legs as well, I really think he'd be first on the list. I think he probably would have had more wins than Kevin.
Really? You think so?
I do.
So I'm not saying I disagree with you, but what I am saying is I don't actually think he would have won as much in 2015 if he didn't have that. And here's why. Because his adrenaline was super high because he knew he had a very challenging way to get into the playoffs.
Right.
And he went out and won 3 straight races, right? Like, that was insane. And then finished second the next race and then won again.
Yeah.
So, now I'm not saying he couldn't have won before that point at all. And I'm not saying he wouldn't have won the same amount. But I just don't think that he would have had that streak if he didn't know what his future was going to entail, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
But, so, I will say that you could be right. But I'm just... 2015 was because of his... I mean, he wouldn't have won the championship if he didn't break his legs. I mean, that's just being honest.
Right.
I mean, the best driver...
I can agree with that too, but I don't know.
The best driver in 2015 was Harvick, but
Yeah.
the playoffs didn't work out that way for him. But that's crazy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's an interesting list though. I was shocked to seeing the numbers actually broke down and stuff.
Yeah. It's really cool. I liked it. I don't know where I got this, but it was really... I forgot where I picked this up off of. It was probably Racing Reference.
Yeah.
But it was shown. It wasn't like... I didn't go search for this. It was
Right.
on social media. Another interesting one here is, yes, Jimmy Johnson also dominated, but he also had the lowest average finish out of all the 10 drivers here.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
I think a lot of that had to do with probably the last 2 seasons in general.
yeah, I do agree. But
If it wasn't for those, his average probably wouldn't be that bad. But those were just bad years.
they're just terrible. Good Lord, that was awful. But Matt Kenseth, of course, he had a short turn, well, when did he retire? Was it like 2019? Was like the
Wait, who?
Kenseth?
Oh, Kenseth. 2017, I think. Because then Jones took over, right?
Well, in 2017, Jones took over The 77. So it's 2018. It was when he
Right,
technically
2018
retired.
then. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I didn't know where the lined up. So he literally had as much years as Chase Elliott did if you did it the opposite way.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so that can pretty much compare itself right there. I literally 15 to 13. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I mean, only 4 race difference between the two.
Yeah, that's crazy. And hold on, sorry, I'm getting a
That
phone
is
call here.
interesting looking at it now. Chase beat him out in a lot of his stats, too.
Yeah, what's up? What do you need? Like, no, you're fine. I was just. Uh, so, anyways, that's I do want to talk about that. A little bit just to talk about each driver. I will say that we only had so the most wins of the Daytona 500 in this era was Denny Hamlin.
With 3, yeah.
Yeah. The most Coca-Cola 600s was with
Kyle.
oh shoot, I had all this in my head a minute ago.
I'd say Kyle or Kozlowski. I don't even know if either of them have ever won it. Actually, I don't think Bush has it. He hasn't won a 600.
Yeah, he won it in 2016. If I'm not, no, that was Truex. He won it in 2017.
Oh, that's the year he dominated, right? Or was that
Truex
2018?
2016 was when Truex led.
Okay, like all the laps.
Literally 394 miles.
It's insane.
Sorry, work is doing something. I apologize.
You're good.
I just told them to call someone else because I can't tell you what I'm doing. But anyways, I did find that out. The most Bristol night races was Kyle Busch.
Yeah.
The most wins at Watkins Glen was tied between Chase and
Truex. Or
yes, yeah, Chase and Truex. There's a few that I looked up. Homestead, I believe it was Kyle Busch because of his championships.
yeah, he's the only repeat winner.
Yeah, because he's the only repeat with the
like this format.
Yeah, that's what I was yeah. Because Jimmy had 2 championships as well in the.
Oh yeah, 2013.
So I
You're
wanted
right,
to make sure that
right.
we were
I didn't think about that, but that was a different format.
Yeah. I was just saying you're well, he's the only repeat. I just wanted to make sure that people weren't confused.
Okay.
Sorry, but anyways, I just had a couple of there in there. Southern 500s. It was Denny Hamlin, by the way, as well. I do remember that he had the most crown jewel races out of the Gen 6, which that's.
Did he really though?
Yeah.
Because Harvick won it twice, and then he also won Indy, I think, 3 times in the Gen 6? 2 for sure.
Not gonna have no clue what you are talking about, but I'm gonna give you my full support. Thank you. Hey, listen, we're just talking about old NASCAR because we're getting okay. So since you have no idea what NASCAR about, but I will say that we are moving into a new car next season, so we're getting rid of the generation car that we have right now, or that we had last year. And we're moving it in, so we're giving our best moments out of the Gen 6 era, which was 2013 to 2021. So yeah, and then, so I guess we can move on for the greatest moments that we had for each other. We can give like top 5. Names them off. I
Yeah,
was
that's
so
about all I
busy.
got is 5 or 6.
I was so busy, so I didn't get to. This is gonna be off the top of the dome here.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I got my couple that I've had for like 3 weeks, and then I never got any more time to write more down.
well, you can go ahead and start for the first one if you want.
Well, my first one, I guess I'll go with also the race that I'm currently rewatching, which is the 2014 series finale,
Hmm.
where Kevin obviously won the first race using the new playoff format.
Yeah.
Also, his first race with SHR, so it was not necessarily a comeback story, but almost that type of feeling, but a little different. So yeah, I guess that'll be my first one.
All right. Awesome.
Awesome.
My first. At first, so because I can't really decide where I want to rank these, but I will
Right.
say, 2018 Chase Elliott's first win at Watkins Glen, that was special to me. Now it wasn't one of the greatest Gen 6 moments, no, but it was one of my moments,
Right.
and so that's why I'm gonna put that 5th on the list instead of so on and so forth. But yeah,
I think one of the biggest moments with the Gen 6 era, well, specifically, was the 2018 inaugural Roval race.
mm,
I think that was a huge moment throughout that whole time span, kind of like in the middle almost.
yeah,
Not really. Kind of, no, but yeah, I don't know. That was big. Obviously, we had the Johnson and Truex spin at the end and Blaney steal it.
yeah,
It was a good way to open up that track.
absolutely, it sure was. So my next moment is probably gonna be. Um, it's tough. It's tough, man. I'm gonna say Dale Jr. winning the Daytona 500 for the second time in his career. 2014 was a special year for him in general, like a comeback in a sense of like he had a surge in his career and so on and so forth. What that looked like, and he also, if he didn't get knocked out in one round, he would have made it to the Final Four because he did win Martinsville. But I will say that race was a moment not only just for him but for the sport in general, because he actually did something more than his father, and so that was a good moment for him, and that's why to me it was special for Gen 6.
All right. Yeah. Completely. A good one, I think, for Gen 6 to really speak out for the aero. Obviously, the Gen 6 car was very aero dependent,
Yeah.
which also led to a lot of side drafting and such, which could be very fun. Oh my gosh, my computer's tripping.
I saw it flash and I was like, what's going on?
Stop. So yeah, side drafting and such.
Side driving and such. So
A good one for was I don't know the year. It was the Kentucky race with Kyle and Kurt. They battled and side draft and
2019?
being banged. Yeah,
Yeah.
at Kentucky. I think that was an awesome Gen 6 moment that plays into what the Gen 6 was good for. So, come on, what the fuck?
So that's about third, right? We have third on the list.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We're having a lot of technical difficulties, and we have like viewers watching right now. This is what's crazy.
Of course.
Anyways, I can't even think of right now like what's amazing.
I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. We're always prepared, but the day that like, I'm gonna just go out and say it. The number one for me, I'm gonna just say number one because I'll talk about some few later. Actually, no.
Right.
Okay, I'll do one before this.
Right.
Phoenix in 2016. It just came, we just
2016 with
Edwards
Edwards,
and Harvick. Yeah.
Kevin and Edwards.
Yeah, well, we just came off one of the closest finishes, or actually the closest finish of the Daytona 500, with Denny Hamlin edging out Martin Truex Jr. for his first Daytona 500 out of 3 that he had in the Gen 6 era. And then, so we come to the next racetrack, and literally, Harvick dominated the race. A late caution comes out. He stays out. Right? I think that's how it works, right? Yeah, and then Edwards took 2 tires. And so that's what got him closer to Harvick on the restart. And then they beat and banged coming to the checkered. They were literally bumping into each other like this coming to the checkered. And
I'll never
Harvick,
forget hearing Gordon. He was like, "Look at him slam!"
Well then, yeah, it was a great moment. It was a great race in general. So
yeah, that was a good race.
Yeah, so that's what I gotta say is go Harvick.
That was also the closest finish ever at Phoenix as well.
That's crazy.
Yep. Man, it's a good race. Speaking of which, I talked to Stat Boy, someone else that should be here, and told him to find out what specific track that someone won the most out of anyone throughout the Gen 6 era. And after you mentioning that, it was probably Harvick at Phoenix.
It has to be. Legit, I think it has to be.
His run at Phoenix started in 13.
I think the closest. Actually, so after we get done with the subject that we're talking about, one of our viewers, his name's Lamont. I work with him. He said, "What race do you wish you could have seen in person?" He said he doesn't understand. He said, "I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I'm still trying to learn."
Regarding just the Gen 6 era?
Or he's probably thinking overall. Realistically, I wish I would have saw the closest finish in NASCAR history, which is the 2011 Dega race. I wish I would have saw that in person.
That was incredible, man.
There were 4 wide across the checkered flag. There was literally 8 cars in a span of not even overall. A span of over 0.2 of a second.
Not even. Yeah, it was less than a tenth.
Yeah, it was crazy. But other than that's what I would have saw in person.
Yeah, that would have been an awesome one to see in person. Absolutely incredible race. One that I would have seen, which is also written down from my Gen 6 era, is that 2014 Richmond race with the Kenseth, Keselowski, Logano, and Gordon battling it out with I think 6-7 to go on late race restart.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing racing with that one, beating and banging, and sliding all around. Yeah, that was a good race.
And honestly, if you would like, after you watch this, you can look up just the finishes. You don't have to watch the whole race. And you could see the last couple laps the 2014 Richmond race. You should probably see the last 20 laps because that leads up to the and then you can see what we're talking about when we're talking about just more than just turning left or stuff like that, because we're NASCAR, so that's all you think. That's what every person thinks we do is just turn left.
But I'd probably want to see that one though, that Richmond one. That was a good one.
That's out of the ballpark. Wow, I didn't expect you to say something like that. Another top Gen 6 moment for me personally, I would have to say, I said Jimmy Johnson, right? No, I didn't. I didn't say that yet. So I'm gonna wait for that one. This is my last one before my Jimmy Johnson. Is actually Stewart Haas racing in general. Okay, so I'm gonna go in detail on this one because in 2013 Kevin Harvick was in the 29 car for RCR. I might have to, not gonna lie, kind of interesting. That's great. Seriously, racing is great. A lot of people make fun of NASCAR, but there's
oh yeah, we can put you in the right direction for a lot of good finishes.
Yes, and you would get hooked, I promise. So he was in the 29 for RCR, so on and so forth. He moved over to SHR,
SHR.
into the 4 car, which his first year with them, he dominated the season, literally won the championship. And
Yeah.
then it comes back the next year, 2015, dominates the first 10 races, wins
Yeah.
3 of them, and led lap in races,
Yeah.
whatever.
It was that was during the westward swing right after Daytona, and they went to Phoenix and
Yeah,
Vegas and California, or in those three. I don't know if it was what order it was,
yeah,
but
it
yeah,
was
won
phenomenal.
all three, and I think that was after he finished second in the Daytona race, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. His first 5 races was a top 2 finish. That
Yep.
was phenomenal. Anyways, that I'm just saying
Um.
SHR in general, like that.
Right.
He Harvick really not only improved SHR, but I really think that put them into a legacy of being a top team because of
I
that.
agree. Also, to add to that real quick, so he had like the two, or at least second place finish, like the first 5 races or
Yep.
whatever. It also goes to the end of 2014 as well. He didn't finish worse, I think, than third through
Yeah.
like the last 7.
Yeah. It
I
was crazy. Yeah, that's
mean, he went on a heck of a run, man.
Caleb in our chat, which is Ninja or Static Ninja or whatever.
Ninja, what's
Yeah.
up, Static?
He said, how much will the one lug nut change the pit stops?
I don't think it will. I actually watched a video earlier. I don't remember what team it was, but doing a mock pit run,
Yeah.
and it was dang near the same time.
Yeah, it's because so in a sense of if you have 5 lug nuts, right? You do not have to you don't have to push it as far back, right? Because you're gonna
Right.
have 5 components holding that wheel on the race car. But when you have one lug nut that controls the whole suspension, because that's why they went to one lug, is because it literally the car was so heavy that you could not the tires would fall off if they had 5,
Right.
and that was why I was explaining that the one lug single axle thing that they created. I don't know what they did. Was so important for them to do. It literally takes the same amount of time. Now they said the pit stops at first maybe a little bit longer just because they won't be used to it. I'm sure the 500 we'll see about 13 seconds, but within the half of the season we'll probably see 11.5s.
I agree.
Especially with like Hinder Motorsports, Joe Gibbs, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think it'll change much, but it'll definitely change the craft of the pit stop more than less of time.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, it's relatively the same. It's just a little different.
Yeah, yeah. But we got 2 more topics before we can kind of talk about whatever we want to talk about. Um, so the first topic, or well, the first thing we want to get into. Oh, we still got one more big moment for each other. If you still have one, I still have my final one.
Um, yeah, sure. So this is really more of a testament to NASCAR, but this is the Austin Dillon Big Daytona wreck. I mean, that thing was demolished. It really spoke to us a lot how far safety has come in NASCAR when we saw that wreck. Because, I mean, if that wreck happened 25 years ago, he probably wouldn't have lived through that.
Absolutely not,
So,
and I'm sure no fan would have either.
right. Yeah.
Because so if for Lamont, I'm sure, and other people that doesn't know what we're talking about. In 2015, we were coming across the checker flag at Daytona for the July race. Dale Jr. was winning the race, but as they're going across the checkered, um, Denny Hamilton hooked from Harvick, goes into
Yep.
the 3. The 3, like there's so much like air involved with this that the 3 legit moves up the racetrack on top of 3 rows of cars into
Yep.
the catch fence.
Right. Just rolls right over.
Yeah, rolls right over into the catch fence right at the start finish line. Nobody got hurt, and literally Austin Dillon got out of his car and was
Yep.
literally waving his hands like this. Like it was a great.
That's an incredible moment. Not only for Gen 6, because, I mean, yeah, somewhat has to do with Gen 6, but not really, because the safety came along before that. But just a big moment, and, stop and make you think again. But,
Absolutely.
yeah.
My last moment, I almost said it a minute ago, anyways, but it is Jimmy Johnson winning his 7th title. Um, not okay. I think this is a big moment for just the sport in general because no one thought that anybody could ever reach Dale Earnhardt's and Richard Petty's 7th title ever again. They just thought
Right.
they were the best of the business. And then Jimmy Johnson goes out, wins 5 straight before the Gen 6, and then wins 2 more during the Gen 6 era. Um, and in 2016 when he won his final Cup title, it was also his 80th career win at Homestead. So it's such a big moment for him and Chad Knaus and HMS in general.
Yep.
What should I look up to see that moment, Dylan, with the car flipping? Look up 2015 Daytona July race, and then final laps. Literally, if you watch the last 2 laps, it won't be too long. So, and just having that moment of Jimmy, to me, Jimmy Johnson was, I didn't get to see Richard Petty race in his prime, which I'm not going to count him because him and David Pearson were beyond their years when it comes to equipment.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I didn't really see Dale Earnhardt race, obviously, because he died in 2001, and I was born in 2000, so I had no idea who he was. But looking back, he didn't really have the racecraft that Jimmy does, in a sense of I mean, Earnhardt was good and all, but he still had to bump you to move you out of the way, right? Jimmy found a way to just pass you. Like there was no. And it wasn't just Jimmy Johnson either, but yes, it was at the same time because Chad Knaus was the best crew chief we've ever seen when it comes to making situations happen in a sense of, you're getting in the gray area over here, or getting it over there, and that's what racing's all about. Like I don't care what people say; it's not cheating. Everyone does it.
No, you got to push the limits. I mean, we've seen it in 2014 when they started pulling out them side skirts and making them flare out.
Oh yeah, I mean.
They found a gray area and they used it, and they couldn't do nothing about it till the end of the season. That's just something that comes along with it, and you got to look for them advantages.
And just to see like the emotion from the fans, a lot of people was disappointed in a sense of the way the playoffs worked, and that race we talked about. Edwards should have won that race and would have won the championship as well. But
16, no doubt. Yeah. He definitely had the best car anyway. I think if that wreck didn't happen, he probably would have been the champion.
Yeah.
And he'd probably still be racing, I think.
Yeah, I think, well
I think he would be. Because, I mean...
Go ahead.
It really seemed like he was just like, fuck it. I've done everything I could. It is what it is. I'm out.
Yeah.
But in a really nice, respectful way, because that's how Carl Edwards was.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Carl Edwards was a great guy, nonetheless. Like, no matter anyone who's ever met him,
Did you see the note that he sent to Mike Stefanik's wife or whatnot?
No.
Yeah, like congratulating and such.
Okay, Caleb said, I know this is kind of sorry, we had a couple comments come in. Sorry, I know this is kind of a topic, but what underdog of a driver will have a breakout year? Is there any chance of us seeing a lot more spoilers? I'm gonna go first on this. I really think Tyler Reddick will have a huge year. He's not really underdog because RCO kind of is, but he's not. I wouldn't consider anybody lower than that. We could have a Ross Chastain, drivers that's been in the sport. But
yeah, I can see Chastain pulling it off, even like maybe Suarez breaking through.
I really don't see anybody lower than that tier of a car. Not just because everyone's gonna have the same spec car this year, but they don't have the engineering that every other driver does. So.
Right. I do think some of the lower teams will be statistically probably running better.
Yeah.
But in terms of spoiling, I don't think some of them will even see in the top 20.
No, I think Stenhouse will be a really underdog when it comes to the playoffs, though. I think we need to
Yeah,
watch out
especially
with
with the
that.
plate tracks in general.
But yeah, I don't think that we'll see a lot of more spoilers just because this car definitely is going to be a driver's race car in a sense of
Oh yeah, I
there's
mean we've seen a good amount of spins in all the testing
yeah. I mean
that
Chase
we've
spun
done.
twice today. Um,
Oh really?
yeah,
I saw
it was
Bush Fun
yeah.
and Todd Gilliland, I
Todd
believe, is
Gilliland
in the
smacked the
38
wall,
now.
and it
Yeah.
did nothing to the car. I love that. That just made me happy.
Did it really? I didn't get to see
Yeah,
the
it
outcome
did
really. I
nothing
just
to the
saw the
car.
spin.
He literally hit the wall, backed
Wow,
into it, nothing. It's
that's
crazy.
great.
But like if you would have hit that with a Gen 6, like
Oh yeah, it was
defender would have been
destroyed. You're
the
going to the backup.
yeah. Uh, sorry, but yeah, there was that. Also, but yeah, so I think it's more in the driver's hands, and also the drivers who's been really pushing it through these to these tests. So like, we've seen Kyle Busch, really push the car. We've seen Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick. Those are the drivers. I'm even going to put Chase Elliott there just because he really has been pushing it through these tests. Um,
Yeah,
I was trying to be as biased as possible, but um, they're the drivers who are going to be the field, right? I don't see anybody else contesting right now, but
I agree.
but Lamont, you said you just watched that crazy crash, and that's pretty wild and really respectable how everyone just runs out to help. Yeah, I mean literally the winner of the team, so the 88 crew who won the race, didn't celebrate. They went straight to that vehicle to make sure the three was okay. That's what NASCAR's all about, right? It's a team
That's
effort.
yeah, absolutely good sportsmanship.
But anyways, Caleb, I hope that answered your question. I know that we didn't really explain that well, but we were trying to get
Yeah,
through everything.
it is a crazy wreck though. That's why I was saying that's a huge testament to the safety and innovation that we've had in our sport.
Yeah,
That
absolutely,
all came with sadly tragedies, and that's what forces you to innovate. But
for sure.
yeah,
So, out of all of our greatest moments, what is your favorite Gen 6 race?
I've been thinking and thinking because all right, so we've had these notes for these podcasts for a while now. So I've been thinking and thinking and thinking about what my favorite specific race is in the Gen 6 era, and I don't know. I can't pinpoint it.
All right, well, I'm going to pinpoint mine. First, I want to give this comment again. Caleb said, I honestly think Harrison Burley will have a good rookie year. I have him putting the Wood brothers back in victory lane. So I want that personally. I just I don't think I've seen enough from Harrison, but also the Xfinity Series is. I mean, Jimmy Johnson won one race and he ends up being a 7-time champion. So you can't really compare that. Um, but
I
I would just like to see his racecraft a little bit more. He just needs to be more consistent with that.
Regarding Harrison, I actually almost did choose him for my one of my what the hell were they called? Our 5 bold predictions. And I
Oh,
almost said he was going to win a race, but I chose not to. I said something else.
okay. Well, you kind of have the same aspect on that.
I'd like that. I'd also like to see Todd Gilliland up front, but I know that equipment's not going to do much. So maybe he'll be a spoiler. I like Talladega.
Lamont said Harrison Burton got no chance. He had no idea who he is. That's hilarious. But uh, he's funny. The top Gen 6 race for me was 2017 Martinsville, the night race. Well, it was the playoff race, ended up being a night race. Um, that to me was phenomenal when it comes to like comers and goers throughout the field, throughout the race, and then it comes down to a lot of beating and banging. Yeah, we had one driver completely spin out the 24. That wasn't racing, but it was exciting as a fan. Now me as the fan, I was pissed, but watching back, could care less. That made me excited, and I think that was one of the best races. And we also had a side by side finish coming with Truex and Kyle Busch. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? So,
Yeah. That was a good race.
it was
But
a really good race, but
I don't know. I don't know for a single race. There's too many good moments.
too many.
Yeah, There were some good ones, but there was also a bunch of trash ones. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
don't let the Gen 6 fool you.
yeah, there were some trash races. I mean, every Pocono race you can click on, I'm sure you can find something that you can fall asleep to.
God, I love the one Harvick one though, man. Finally, on Pocono.
Freaking hated that track.
That track has eluded him for a long time.
But if you, I can go on to some news if you can think about any race. Um, what is the most disappointing or overrated race in the Gen 6 era? Oh,
The most what?
disappointing or overrated race in the Gen 6 era. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, this is.
most disappointing.
I got mine. 2013 Daytona 500.
I had a feeling you would say that.
Okay, I was at that race. Okay, I will say because I was at the race was great, right? Because I mean, when you're at the track, you have a different feel in a lot of different areas.
Yep.
But the race, if you watch it back, is the most boring thing you've ever seen in your life. You could probably fall asleep to it. And that was the first race with the Gen 6 car. So, that, there you go. I answered your question.
I don't know, man. That's tough. I have to say the most disappointing race. It would have to be the Poconos as a whole, not just one specific race, but this Pocono. If you knew you were going to Pocono, you knew you weren't going to pay attention.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think so. Every time we looked at the schedule and we wanted to go on vacation, we would choose the Pocono Indy races. So like the span where they had Pocono and Indy back to back.
Yep.
We would
And then
go on
they used to have
vacation.
Michigan right behind it
Oh,
too.
dude, we would make sure that our vacation was in that point, so I didn't
Yeah.
miss a good race. Like I just
Right. They were just always boring, and that's the nature of them big tracks like that, especially the ones with like sweeping turns. It just seems to spread out, and then
yeah, it was always awful.
that's it.
We do have some news though. So the Gen 6 is a car. I thought it was like a racing era. Still trying to learn. No, yeah, yes, the car
Oh,
itself. Yes,
yeah, we should have clarified that.
yeah. I'm sorry. I really wish I could clarify that a lot more. So we're getting a new car. So in a sense of like, so that's why we're saying goodbye to the Gen 6. We're getting a new car. I can't really explain what that is unless you go look it up yourself. I can actually pull up a picture of our next generation car.
I see you can share the screen, right?
Yeah.
We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't done that in a while.
We used to do that for points.
Well, oh yeah, share screen. Alright. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Oh no, I can't. No, you can't. Alright. Anyways, I gotta show you. So you won't be able to see it, but he will. So this is the next gen car. All right, this is what that looks like. The Gen 6. I'll show you what that looks like. This is back in at its time. It's a lot different, as you can tell. There's a lot more. It's a lot bigger body in a sense of like. There's a lot more airflow. If okay, I can't explain to this right now, but at work I can tell you because it's hard to explain.
At work, I can tell you. There's also, I mean, if you really wanted to get really invested with it, you could go back and watch some of our older podcasts, and we talk about the Gen 6 a good amount in one of those specifically. Well, the Gen 6 and the new car.
All right. Anyway, yeah, absolutely for sure. So do they call it like Gen 7 car or what is it? Yeah, yeah. So
Next Gen.
yeah, we call it next gen, but technically it's the same thing as a Gen 7. That's what that is. Do you hear this? This is great.
Who is it?
It's my mother screaming. Uh, can you ask them to like? So
That's awkward.
just let them know that I'm like streaming. Yeah, just thank you. Filming a podcast here. Thank you. So all right. So I got a lot to talk about. Sorry. Trackhouse race looked pretty good last season. They did fairly well with Daniel Suarez. It surprised me how much they did with speed, and especially at the Bristol Dirt Race.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
for sure. The dirt race. Yeah.
honestly, and also not only the Bristol Dirt Race, but the two Atlanta races. They were so fast. I mean, they were literally the fastest car when it came to long runs, but they just never could catch up. I have them winning a couple of races. Ross definitely gives them a pretty good chance. That's who I think is actually going to have one of the breakout years. Now,
I can see that.
Now, I don't know if he's going to win a couple of races just because he's Ross Chastain, and I mean that in a sense of he overdrives the car way too much. So he may get
he pushes it to his limit. It don't matter.
And then Lamont said, "Is the Gen 7 significantly better than the Gen 6, or does it necessarily matter due to the drivers?" So the goal is to get a better racing product on track. So in a sense of there's less aero dependency, and it's more of a just try to have drivers race it out and make it more in the driver's hands.
Right.
And so that was the whole idea for the Gen 7, or the next gen, or whatever it's called. But so I think it's going to be significantly better, but that doesn't mean it actually is, because we haven't seen a race yet in which February 20th we will see our first
true race product.
Yeah. We'll see our first race.
Well, we got one technically before that.
Well, technically, yeah, you're right. But
yeah.
But we do have some news. I'm trying to get to that and what the news I was trying to look up. I will say that we have some really cool news in a sense of. Sorry, where am I at here? Let's talk about penalties. You ready to talk about that?
Oh, man, I saw the news about that, and I haven't gotten deep into it yet, so I'm excited. But I do know that they have like a new penalty max, and it's like $500K. That's crazy. That's a lot.
So, if you have a... I wish the dirt Bristol race would be more like a prelude to the dream.
Man, I miss those. Prelude to the dream.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the old pay-per-view days.
Okay. I was like, what is that? And then I'm just... So let's talk about penalties.
Did you not get to watch much of the prelude to the dreams?
No.
Yeah. I watched a couple live. I've seen them all like on YouTube though, but missed out.
So level 3 penalty may include, but are not limited to, counterfeiting or modifying the next gen, like parts. So any part that NASCAR gives you for the car, if you modify it or change it, this will be a level 3. Engine infractions such as cubic inches, displacements, ratio, long block assembly, and just not meeting the rules in general. That's pretty simple. But engine performance enhancements such as nitrous, vacuum leaks, stuff like that, or jet fuel.
Nitrous? It does not say nitrous, does it really?
Yeah, nitrous.
That's hilarious.
The ECU or EFI parts, which the ECU is the fuel injected system.
Right.
Sorry, parts not being used as the rules permit. Modifying the tires or fuel. Violating the vehicle testing policy, which they can't test unless NASCAR allows them to. So if you get any of these penalties, which you would not, you do not want to, because here is the level 3, you get deducted 120 points to 180 points.
Holy cow!
Playoff points you get deducted. This is a new thing. You get deducted playoff points, 25 to 50.
At 20, I mean, 50 playoff points is your season. That's a lot.
This way. There's more. A playoff eligibility for the driver and team owner is denied. So, you will
Wow.
not be able to make the playoffs.
Even if you're eligible, they could be like, nah, sorry.
No. They can say
Who's
no.
in 21st?
Uh,
That's interesting.
the team event rosters, members suspension. So like, I mean, it's random. So in a sense
Yeah.
of so 6 races for each team, like for that, and it's up to 1 to 2 suspension for or 1 to 2 positions suspended, and then
Yeah.
also 1 vehicle suspension. So that means the whole car/team will not be able to go to the next racetrack. They are serious about this crap. And then the fine is $250,000 to $500,000 dollars. So that is the level 3. So if you get a level 3,
insane.
if we hear someone make the level 3 mark, that is going to be fun. Like your year is over.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Level 2, I mean, it's still about the same. You get 75 to 120 points deducted, playoff points 10 to 25. The team roster suspension 4 to 6 races. It could be 1 to 2 positions. No vehicle suspension, and then 10,000 or 100,000 to 250,000. 250. Yeah, I said that right. Okay, and then level 1 is only 20 points to 75 points. Playoff points either 1 point to 10. 1 to 3 races on the suspension, and it just depends. And it's only 1 position, and it's only 25,000 or 100,000. So that's a lot of penalties. No matter what, if you get any L penalty, you're screwed. In my opinion.
Yeah, that's crazy how much they've amped up the penalty.
Oh yeah, that's insane. That just well, I really don't have much more news other than that. Besides, the next gen, but we wanted to talk about the whole car and the whole thing next week, anyways. And Caleb, yeah, I agree. We all need to attend a race one day.
Yeah, definitely. We've already been in the talks of it more and more and more.
Yeah. I don't know if you're going to the Daytona 500, but I am.
I know I'll be in Homestead.
But other than that, do you have any other? I mean, we've been live for an hour, so.
Not really. I didn't do much preparing this week.
Yeah, we did not prepare this week just because we've been so busy.
Yeah.
But, okay, let's talk about one thing. I guess we can talk about the package a little bit of what we're going to use moving forward, just because that's one thing that we can talk about before we let everything go. Well, we have a we NASCAR decided what package we're going to run for all tracks except Daytona, Talladega, and Atlanta. We'll be running the 670 horsepower package with a 4-inch spoiler. Well, I live all the way in Nebraska, so I'm gonna need a private escort. All right, all right, okay. So that's medium horsepower, low downforce, and I think this is something that's going to prevent great racing when it comes to intermediates.
Absolutely, it's gonna having that type of aero setup. It's gonna obviously we're bringing it away from the Gen 6. That's the whole point. Moving on, it's gonna put the way the car handles a lot more back into the driver's hands, which is what we've been needing.
Yeah, I think I think this is going to be so the 550 package has his ups and downs, are more downs than it did ups, and then the
Yeah.
750, it definitely had some down moments just because in intermediate tracks it was very difficult to be able to race and hold
Yeah.
side by side. But when it comes to short tracks, it was really fun to watch because you didn't get as much speed down the straightaway, and a sense for it to make a difference going into the corner. But you had enough acceleration to get loose and to overdrive the corners and stuff like that. So,
Right.
um, I think with the 670, I think it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what the drivers are able to do with it. Um, from what I saw at Charlotte with the test and the mock race, that was
Good stuff.
great, phenomenal racing. So I
Yep.
can't wait to see it on tracks like Kansas, even Auto Club. I mean, we can only imagine what that can hold.
Oh man, I forgot. We got one final race of Auto Club left.
Before it turns into a short track.
It's gonna be cool to go back. It's a bummer because I have always liked Auto Club, but it's what it is, I guess.
It is what it is. But that's all I have to say for the Gen 6. This was going to be a short one anyways. We usually run about an hour and a half, but we just didn't have a lot to talk about, especially with two of our buddies not being able to show up today. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, like always.
Yep, absolutely.
Don't forget to tell your moms, dads, uncles about us. That'd be great.
Because they're the only ones that watch.
Yeah.
Your mom's, dad's, uncle.
Do you have anything to say before I leave?
No, it's been fun. Glad to be back again.
All right. Well, also thanks for the comments. We appreciate that. That was fun to interact with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I always like interacting with the people that do watch. We had a lot last season, but I know once we start to really get deeper into this season, we should get more and more. Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all for the support, and see us next week. We'll talk about the Clash and moving into 2022 with the next gen race car, and that'll be a lot of fun. So